Welcome back to my channel, guys. So in this video, let's talk about part one of the Orphan Hunt. That's from the beginning to where we left off at the last entry. That's with Barbara Court's kidnap and I think Margaret learning how to use some of the basic dueling spells. So guys, how do I say this? That's um the previous chapter and this chapter, that's the Witch's Conundrum and this Orphan Hunt, they were originally supposed to be the same chapter. But when I started writing, that's the Orphan Hunt, that's when I started adding to the chapter. Originally the chapter was supposed to be titled Advanced Understanding of Magic and Its Laws, based on, that's a title of one of the compulsory courses they have in this first semester, you get. And at the same time, this chapter was supposed to be a chapter where guys, that's the audience will learn more about the magic system. Both you learn about potions when Barbara and Semra were in Semra's study and brewing the potions and talking about how to brew the mutagenic potion. And at the same time, you learn about dueling and other aspects of other branches of magic when Barbara and Bless will teach Margaret how to cast spells and use magic, you get. But when I started adding to that chapter, as to write my idea of the Orphan Hunt, I saw that it was going to be too long, so I decided to split it into three chapters. That's I split it into a chapter that was already around, which was that's the Witch's Conundrum, and it was originally supposed to end with us. It was supposed to end with after they teach Margaret how to use spells, they'll go to class, and that's when we end with the cliffhanger of Barbara God meeting Shanzi Hazar and figuring out that I think he's her father, that kind of thing. She'll get hints based on his appearance, his white hair, his eyes, that he's her father. You get, that's the cliffhanger the chapter was supposed to end with. So I just decided to split it up from Barbara meeting Margaret and making the deal to teach Margaret magic. That's why I decided to end chapter 4. That was the Witch's Conundrum. Then the next chapter was now supposed to be titled Bitter Works. That's after that episode in Avatar where Zuko was learning how to use lightning from Onkairo, while Thor for teaching him how to use earthbending. You also had the name Bitter Works, you get. But I decided that there is no point in making a chapter that is just going to be exposition. Let me just combine everything, you get. So that's why this part one of the Orphan Hunt is kind of like set up for the Orphan Hunt, you get. Because in the Orphan Hunt there will be a lot of, that's in this next part we're about to enter, there will be a lot of fights. Right now I've planned for about 17 fights, so there will be a lot of fights. You can't just enter into a fight with the readers not knowing exactly how the magic system works, you get. So this part was supposed to be me kind of introducing you guys to the magic system, well, both essence fragmentation, essence word transformation, essence manipulation, and stuff like that. So this chapter began with Blessing waking Barbara up from sleep, because that's chapter 3 ended with Blessing going back home, you get. So she's returning now, since she wasn't in chapter 4, so she's returning now, she's waking Barbara from sleep. So they'll talk about about what they discovered at the end of chapter 3. That's about how when Barbara's mother died, this thing Semran probably like felt like it was a part of herself that died, you understand. That's part of, like, it recontextualizes Blessing Semra abandoning her, you understand. So after we talk about that, we'll now move to go and start teaching Margaret about magic, you get. So basically we'll just teach her things, the basic, okay, how is magic cast with essence fragmentation, essence word transformation, and essence transformation, you get. We'll teach her about that. We'll also teach her about binding vows, and that binding vows is something new, because that one is based on, as I said, I think I've said it many times, that this Orphan Hunt was inspired. I got the idea from Shibuya Incident Arc, and which is in JJK, and one of the things that is in JJK is about binding vows. And anytime I see something I like, I'm going to take it from the story, or maybe if I see it and I do not think it was explained well, because I don't think binding vows JJK explained it very well, you get. So I decided to take it and kind of use it and explain it better than they explained it, that kind of thing. So I had to explain it, and obviously it's going to come back into play when the fight starts happening, you get. So I explained binding vows, and after that Blessing also use magic. You don't get, she started learning, she started understanding it, and hopefully maybe as you guys are reading it, you also be understanding it with her and also feel happy when she's kind of getting a hang of it. You get. So after that we went to, okay, first Oluchi came, and I think I already talked about Oluchi and about how I created the character. You get, I created her to be like a rival for Blessing. So she came, they went to, that's, she now tell them about that the bounty on Barbara's head and about how, okay, Barbara, she has to guard Barbara throughout today in case of this, in case someone comes for her along the road or anywhere. So they will go to, they will start going to school. Around the school they will first branch to the this thing, one of the, I think portals, or I've forgotten the name of their place. That's stations for teleportation. Hit one came for him. So when they get to the place, Blessing and this thing and Nolichi will have their, will kind of have, I think they will clash. You get. So they'll argue for a bit, they almost fight before Margaret stops them from fighting. They'll now go to school. Then in the, when they get to Swamp, that's in their department, that's where I think we introduce Professor Shanzi Ozo, who is, I think he's supposed to be, not that he's Barbara's father because he hasn't been confirmed yet, but for now Barbara is going to suspect that he's her father. You get. So after her conversation with him, and we'll learn some things about conceptual magic, about how conceptual magic will discuss some of the things that falls under concepts. You get, falls under things you can do with conceptual magic. After her conversation with him, they will now, I think we'll now see you like show that okay, Semra put Ifunanya the Obscura inside this tree house. That's where she's kept. You know, right now she's in suspended animation inside the ice ball that the hooded man put her in. So Semra put her inside that place. You get, since he's also going to come into play in the Orphan Hunt. So after that they'll go to class. That's where I'll introduce this girl Mesoma. I think Mesoma own issue is that she's from the this she's from, if one of the old houses, and that old house is for enchantment. So that's their own ETCP. And the thing about her is because enchantment is not really a branch of magic that is good for dueling. It's not very powerful in dueling. So it's just basically used for like the betterment of the daily life of a, or the quality of life of a magician. You get like carriages, broomsticks, all these flying carpets, anything you see that is enchanted, all these like knife moving on its own and cutting onion, all those kind of things, basically enchantment. Even the smart scroll magicians used to use, the light poles on the road, like everything that you see that it looks like technology is enchantment. You get. That's what enchantment mainly used for, like quality of life, that kind of thing, but it's not good for dueling. But the girl, she wants to be a good duelist, and she wants to be prove that you can be a good duelist with enchantment. You get. So, and her dream is to maybe challenge either Blessing or Ibudera, who are the two most powerful magicians of their own generation. And because she believes if she can beat one of them with her enchantment, it will prove that enchantment is actually good for magic. So we introduce her. We also introduce this boy Freddy. Originally his name was supposed to be Eddie. I got inspiration for him from, I think I was watching Suits LA, and that's Arrow, Liver Queen own character in that Suits LA. His brother that died in the past, his name was Eddie, and he had, I think, Down syndrome. That was the character I based this boy Eddie off of. But when I started writing, I wanted to reintroduce the Transfiguration Squad. That's the three boys that poisoned Barbara, that, or that Barbara suspects poisoned her in chapter 4. I forgot that I already gave that name Eddie to someone else. You get. So I now gave one of them the name Eddie. That I think I posted it on the website. Then when I now realized it, I said that okay, I've already. And although I created this boy's character first, this Freddy, I created this character first and gave that name Eddie. But the thing is that these boys have already posted them on the website first. So I don't know if it's chronologically they actually came before him. So I could not now take the name away from them since it was already on the website. So I decided to change the name from Freddy to Eddie. So we introduce him. We also introduce Ebudera. He's going to be this Blessing's love interest. So you get. So after we introduce them, we'll now talk about the basic dueling spell. In the other video, I talked about the basic dueling spell, where I got the idea from and all that. Get. And so it's now time to begin the Orphan Hunt. Since we know about the dueling spells, we know how magic is cast and everything. Get. So I now did the whole okay, Barbara is suspecting this guy for poisoning her. She will not tell Oluchi, you get. And I don't know, my idea for Oluchi being kind of a mole or something, I don't know, I think ahem. It was actually when I was, I don't know if this is a spoiler. But anyway, nobody will watch this video shots. But it was when I was trying to model this Orphan Hunt after Shibuya incident, and based on I like Shibuya incident, I wanted to create an act that would be similar to it. Yeah, so I was kind of like, originally I wanted like Semra to be there. Semra would take the place of like Gojo, where okay, she's too powerful. So these people's main goal, that's the hooded men, their main goal would be to take her out at the beginning of the arc. You get. But it was when I decided that okay, Semra is too powerful. That's why I decided to find a way to remove Semra from the arc. But besides that, originally I said okay, Semra is going to take the place of Gojo. You get. That's how I was kind of doing. This character will take the place of this character. This character will take the place of this character. Then I now looked at Toji. I'm like, okay, who is going to take the place of Toji? You get, based on Toji was very, everybody likes Toji. Now who's going to take his place? Because Toji is this character who died in the past, but they're going to bring back his soul to do something. Yeah, so I'm now wondering. That's why I realized that the only person who I've had who have died in the past that I can bring back, who is also going to be cool to use his powers to add his powers to this whole soup, is the hooded man. And I say, but what's the point of Toji had, like, there was an emotional this with Toji of him realizing that okay, this is son who he cared for is actually fine. He now killed himself to protect his son. So, but who is kind of, if this guy is going to be like Toji, is going to, who is he going to do something similar like that for? That's why I said, okay, let me say that he has a sibling. That's why I now say that okay, a sibling is going to be this girl, and then she's going to betray them. She's going to betray Blessing, Barbara, and everyone, because she wants to bring, not that she wants to bring her brother back to life, but I want, my idea was something like okay, she's going to have this kind of like, she's having this feeling that maybe her brother is not at peace. You get, maybe her brother haven't passed on, haven't moved on, you know, that kind of thing. So she wants to like find a way where she can kind of find out how, what she can do for him to move on, for him to find peace. You get. So that's, this is where she will now kind of be contacted by the lesser evil, that's Sadagra's people, and they'll be like, they can find a way for him to, for her to communicate with him. You get. So it's going to be why she'll betray them. Then they'll use his ashes and kind of bring his soul back, so that she can communicate with him, and it's going to lead to him will have fights on fights now. You get. So that was my idea. That's why I said okay, she's going to be his brother, and that's why I said okay, she's going to betray them. You get. That's why I now brought the whole idea from. So that's when Barrow will tell her the whole why she's suspecting these guys. They'll now go to the this and now bring the this of okay, she, that's when you now get the shock of okay, she's actually going to betray Barbara Court and help these people to kidnap her. That's when she will knock Barbara out. Then I think the chapter, this last issue, will now finally end with lesson teaching that's with Margaret finally figuring out how to cast spells. You get, because of like how to use the right emotions to mix it with essence and cast spells. Yet, and the whole emotion, this thing is actually, there was a fight that Margaret was going to have, and while I was writing that fight, I also that I could like kind of do something with emotions. You guys will see it when we get to that fight. But I say okay, I have to now go back to what I've written and add this whole emotions things. I had different emotion can cause different things, and the wrong emotion. That's why I now went back and now kind of put it there. But anyway, we still have like another half of the Orphan Hunt to go. This is where the Orphan Hunt is officially starting. So let's see. Please like this video, share it, and if you haven't read Barocot and the Breath of Life, you can go and read it on my website tuba.com, and have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you.